was supposed to happen around 11 a.m., so don't worry. It's a real pleasure to be here today at the Port Harcourt Tech Expo, right here in a city that sits at the heart of Nigeria's energy story. It's also my city. I'm a Port Harcourt boy. And increasingly, its innovation story, thanks to the Tech Expo organizers and all those who are driving this. Let me start with something we all recognize. Right now in Port Harcourt, two energy realities exist side by side. One powers industry. I work with Renaissance Africa Energy Company, and I'm happy that just last week, African oil producing company in the world. So we contribute to that. So one powers industries, drives exports, and sustains national revenue. The other plays out much closer to home. Because yes, we can talk about exports, with what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz, the amounts per barrel and all that. But what about us at home? So the other plays out much closer to home. Businesses, homes, communities still searching for reliable, affordable electricity. And that's the reality. You don't have anything. And that's why personally, even when I was in Shell, position, which I used to share with colleagues from other parts of the world, and some of them didn't understand it. And I always told them, you can talk about energy transition because you have energy. Me, I can't transit from what I don't have. I'm looking for energy. And I'm happy that the world is beginning to see that indeed it's about energy mix. It's about really getting energy and development, first of all. And if we are honest, many of the ideas, the apps, the startups, and innovations represented in this room depend on one thing: energy that is stable, accessible, and scalable. Is that correct? It is immediate, it is practical, very, very practical. Yeah, where I live, as my colleagues, some of my colleagues are here. Where I live, I stay in the company camp. In the past, colleagues would prefer to stay outside because if you stay outside, they pay you a lump sum and then you can sort yourself out. But these days, it's actually cheaper to stay in the camp because of energy. By the time you finish with solar, diesel, everything, you add up the money, you see that the company is paying you less. So everybody is now queuing up to come back to the camp. So what's the dual pathway? We often hear the question framed as a choice: oil and gas or renewables, centralized systems or decentralized. By building both intelligently, deliberately, and inclusively. If you come to our office industrial area, we have EV charging points for electric vehicles, 6. So already we're encouraging our staff, but we are into oil and gas, right? So that's what it means. And for me, that's practical. And each time I see those vehicles they are charging, I feel so good. And we hope to do more of that, actually. Yeah. Thank you. Because each pathway solves a different problem. Centralized energy systems, oil and gas, deliver scale. They power industries, manufacturing, and economic growth. Decentralized electricity, mini grids, solar, embedded systems deliver. Reach communities faster and create resilience at the local level. So the deliver scale, Decentralized systems deliver access, and Nigeria needs both. For those of you who might be living in Bonny or have gone to Bonny, you know Bonny has perhaps in Nigeria, Bonny is the most, in terms of access to power, they're actually at the top because some companies came together. We set up a utility company for them, Nigeria LNG, ourselves, and Exxon, and provided power and set up a company which they run themselves, and they have, at least the last time I checked, 97% of the time they have power. You know, but they pay something for it, but it's doable. I think that's just the point. It is doable, and for them, it is real. So because it's cheaper, at least they have power. At the point, there was now pressure on the power because everybody was moving down, and they had to tell some people to stay where they are. So Renaissance in action. At Renaissance Africa Energy Company, this dual pathway is not theoretical, it is how we operate, like I said earlier. First, through digital transformation, we're applying data, automation, and smarter monitoring across our operations to improve efficiency and uptime. Because today, energy is not just physical, it's also digital. Second, through gas to power enablement. Let me emphasize this. Gas is one of Nigeria's greatest strategic advantages. Gas country with some oil. If you look at, the reserves that we have, moves beyond production into power. At Renaissance, we are focused on enabling that connection from gas resources to electricity generation and ultimately to industrial use. Today, we send over 2 billion SCOF, standard cubic feet of gas, to LNG for export. And locally, domestically, we do sometimes 130, just over 100. But we want to turn that around. By 2030, we're planning to do 1 billion SCOF for domestic. And people will use that. That will help power the country and create industrial growth. SMEs reduce diesel dependence, which is terrible, both the good one and the bad diesel. I was watching the Uniport convocation last week, Saturday, from somewhere in Bayelsa. And they convocated, I think, at least more than 6,000 of our younger ones convocated. And I was asking myself, where are they going to work? What are they going to do? Which business will 6,000 from one university? In Rivers State, we still have RSU, we have Ajoro, we have Elechi Amadi. So by the time they bring 6,000 into the market, what's going to happen if we don't industrialize? We're in trouble. Because the energy of these youths, you have to use it. So gas to power is, and third, through energy reliability and access. Because success is not measured by people can depend on energy in their daily lives. At Renaissance, the transition is not theoretical, it's been engineered, deployed, and scaled. I already talked about the EV charging points. So engineering the future. So what does the future energy system look like? It's not a straight line from fossil fuels to renewable. It is not. It is an integrated system, one where gas provides stability and scale, renewables expand reach and sustainability, and digital technology optimizes everything. In simple terms, molecules and electrons must work together. Innovation is what determines how strong that bridge becomes. And that's why kudos wonderful things you're doing. The ones I saw last year, I still remember them, and it tells me there's hope for us as a nation. And that's where you all come in. So investing in people and the EV story. Now let me bring this a bit closer home and to something we are proud of, our renaissance. I won't talk about that again. We've done that. But what makes that story powerful about the EV station is not just the infrastructure, it's how it started. The idea did not come from the executive team. It wasn't from me, the MD, or the leadership. It came from a group of young employees, our Future Energy Leaders Network. They say we can do this. And we embraced it and made it happen. No mandate. Simple question. If we're serious about reducing our carbon footprint, shouldn't that start with how we move? That's what they asked us as leaders. And from that idea, they walked across teams, navigated, because ultimately the most important infrastructure we are building is not pipelines, it's actually people. Some story about community impact. Let's bring this to the broader society. Think about a small business owner here in Port Harcourt. Today, they rely on diesel, unpredictable costs, constant interruptions, sometimes even buy bad diesel and destroy your equipment. Now, imagine that same business power will increase, expansion becomes possible, employment grows. So, all those are our young graduates looks like in real life, not just megawatts, but opportunity. When some of us left school in this same country, Jekuya, then when we left school, in fact, some people get employed in school, right? You get your letter while you're in your final year. People say, no, we need your talents. When you're done, will you work for us? Or youth service? You know, just this our transformadi here. Once you walk from one end to the other, you get a job. It's about choosing which one you want to do. You now start asking, will this one send me abroad for training? Will this one give me access to this and that? That has changed. So it's opportunity, some local solutions, and this is why local here in Nigeria, design here, we can do it. These people don't have two heads. My colleagues are here. When we took over from SPDC last year, we were producing 140,000 barrels average. This week we did about 290, right? Yeah. And we're all Nigerians. It's not one Oyibo man telling us what to do. We're doing it, and we're doing it better. I got a call 2 months after we took over from an expatriate who used to work with us, who was not my very good friend when we were working together. I like saying that because when someone calls you and says, how are you for 5 minutes, normally it's your friend, right? Is asking how is your family. They don't normally ask how is your family. How are the kids? But after 5 minutes and now availability is up, everything is going well. Because they were expecting us to be coming back to them with complaints and asking for help, and we never did. So I think that's why he was asking those questions. So we can do it as a country. We are already seeing Nigerian built energy tech, local engineering solutions, indigenous partnerships solving real problems, and platforms like this expo are critical. Is my time up? Okay, I'm almost done. Because they connect ideas to opportunity, and the Niger Delta is not just resource rich, it is idea rich. I'm a very proud Niger Deltan, and I can tell you that that's the case. So, do not choose sides, build bridges between oil and renewables. applications, think systems. Energy is the foundation of everything you are building. And third and finally, collaborate. No one person can do it alone. We are used to doing things on our own. Everybody wants to be CEO. But sometimes you're CEO of nothing. It's better to be a partner of something than CEO of nothing. The future of energy in Nigeria will not be imported. It will not be outsourced. It will be built by people like you in this hall. And the transition is not coming, it's already here. The only question is, what role will you play in it? Thank you very much and God bless you.